Back in 1997, the war of children's television was in full force. Disney was seeing the success of their competitor, Nickelodeon, with their new block for younger children called Nick Jr. Disney combated this with a preschool targeted block of their own, called PlayHouse Disney. This block featured a variety of educational shows, both live action and animated. But the first show under the new branch was a product of a relationship between Disney and the Jim Henson Company. This program was Bear in the Big Blue House.
Welcome to the Blue House.
Hello from the small mouse.
Things to do.
Fun for you.
Howdy from the big bear. Want some fun?
Here's where.
Just for you.
All is new in the house of blue. Lots of room at our house.
Catch the moon at our house.
Kitchen's here. Bathroom's there.
Attic full of stuff here.
Pillows full of fluff here. Just for you in the house of blue. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Big Blue House. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Big Blue House. Door is open. Come on in.
Now you're here.
So let's begin.
Bear in the Big Blue House is an educational TV show from PlayHouse Disney. The show premiered in October of 1997. At the start of the episode, Bear welcomes viewers into his house and tells them that he thinks that they smell good. He would sniff and get really close to the camera and compare the viewer's scent to something else that smells good. After this, he would introduce the episode's topic or theme, and usually you would see some of the secondary characters, which consisted of Ojo, a small orangey reddish colored bear who lives in the woods nearby Bear's house, Tutter, a small blue mouse who lives in Bear's kitchen, Trilo, a bright green lemur with a blue striped tail who lives in the woods just outside Bear's house, Pip and Pop, who were purple twin otters that lived at a pond near Bear's house, Ray the sun, who Bear would sometimes talk to, and Luna, the moon, that Bear would talk to every night before bed. Bear would also occasionally run into Shadow, who would tell him stories.
Where is Shadow? Where is Shadow? Where can Shadow be? Shadow! Do you see Shadow?
Hey, you big old bear! I'm over here!
Oh! Hello, Shadow.
Bear would sing original songs like the iconic Bear Cha-Cha-Cha.
Itching, a twitching, a scritching, a scratching. It's time for the Bear Cha-Cha-Cha. When I feel my toes start to twitch, my lips go la 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 la, and my arms and legs get the itch. It's time to do the Bear Cha-Cha-Cha.
He would also sing songs based on the episode's topic. The show would usually tackle themes that would be relatable to young children. For example, sleep, the fear of going to the doctor, and special ones for the holidays like Thanksgiving. Bear was a warm, welcoming, father-like figure, so he was effective in speaking to young kids and teaching them for the duration of each episode. After the music, they would often cut to real kid interviews where they asked children questions about their feeling on the episode's topic, and then the plot of the episode will continue. At the end of every episode, Bear would go to speak with Luna, typically from the upstairs balcony. They would recap the day's activities, plot themes, and what they learned. And Luna and Bear would sign off by singing another iconic song, the Goodbye Song, which on screen would cut to clips of what happened in the episode and look forward to viewers returning. Afterward, Bear would usually give viewers a personal goodbye himself. Bear in the Big Blue House was created by the same man who created the hit show Clarissa Explains It All for Nickelodeon. His name was Mitchell Kriegman. Kriegman wrote Bear to be very nice and warm-feeling. Kriegman even said in interviews that his upbringing was not very supportive, seemingly writing Bear as that part of his life that had been missing when he was younger. The show clearly resonated with audiences as it quickly became a hit after airing, with parents and children seemingly falling in love with Bear. A huge part was due by the excellent costume design and a fantastic job of voice/puppeteer work by Noel McNeil. McNeil was already well known in the industry for his work on Sesame Street and Eureka's Castle. Another great find was Lynn Thigpen, who voiced Luna the Moon. She was also well known on Broadway and for her role in the Carmen Sandiego series. And show puppeteer Peter Linz would eventually explode into popularity in 2017 as the lead in the Muppet movie as Walter. The show's first season had 26 episodes that were fairly similar in structure. The second season would begin production while the first season was still airing. Saying the show was popular might be a bit of an understatement. It was alone carrying the new PlayHouse Disney block on the Disney Channel, and was far and away the most popular show on the block. Bear also became a merchandising juggernaut, from plush toys, song albums, books, and even video games. Disney didn't sleep on Bear's popularity either. They quickly opened up attractions at Disneyland and at Walt Disney World Resort. In Disney's MGM Studios, they opened a live Bear stage show complete with Bear, some smaller characters, and of course, the Big Blue House. At Disneyland, in Disney's California Adventure, they featured a similar show that both opened in the late 90s. But by the early 2000s, the show broadened a bit to feature more PlayHouse Disney characters while still hosting Bear. After the massive explosion in popularity of Bear in the Big Blue House, and Disney seemingly having no issue going all in with the character, you'd think the show would keep on rolling after 2 more successful seasons, right? Well, kinda. The show would stop production for some reason for about 3 years. It seems that Disney had other plans for Bear at the time. The show was on pause, but Bear was all over the place, literally, because Bear would have his own live show, touring the United States and Canada at the time. The main TV show's 4th season would air later in 2002, but it was different. Bear and his house were no longer the focus, and no longer did the show focus on basic subjects that children could easily relate to. Season 4 instead focused on the side characters and their issues in Woodland Valley. This was solidified by the new opening theme music that would be welcoming you to the new Woodland Valley setting, rather than the Big Blue House. The new episodes would have a new setting, new characters, and new problems to tackle, and regardless of the new changes, one thing never changed, and that was Bear being there to help. The first 2 episodes of Season 4 were loosely based on 9/11. Bear and his friends had to come together to rebuild their library, which had been destroyed by a fallen tree. Season 4 episodes were released on an odd schedule, and 8 episodes never aired until way later in 2006. And those 8 episodes are very rare, because they weren't ever released on home video by Disney. It's odd how Disney was treating Bear in Season 4. After it being so popular and the show coming in with fresh ideas and a new setting, Season 4 premiered in 2002 and ended in 2006, marking the end for Bear in the Big Blue House. But that wasn't the end for Bear the character. Bear would go on to star in another show called Breakfast with Bear, in which he'd interact with real kids in the morning and learn about healthy living and teaching kids better lifestyle choices. However, this was short segments in between other PlayHouse Disney shows at the time. This unfortunately would be the final time Bear would be part of PlayHouse Disney, as Breakfast with Bear would end in 2006. Both Breakfast with Bear and Bear in the Big Blue House would be pulled from the network, and even reruns being rare and almost non-existent. The sudden pulling of Bear from the network was especially odd because the show had garnered over 100 episodes, which made it really easy to rerun. And it also was very odd because Disney had bought the full rights to the Muppets and to Bear in the Big Blue House from the Jim Henson Company. Regardless of why the show was pulled from the network, I think Bear was such a popular show because of not just the talented people who casted on the show, but also the brilliant costume design that gave Bear such fantastic expression. And also the show's creator, Mitchell Kriegman. Kriegman had turned his negative upbringing into joy for millions of kids around the world. It's so easy for people to be brought up in a bad situation and to be pessimistic and continue the negativity and channel that into the world. But Kriegman used it for positivity, and Bear would be proud. When I was a kid, Bear in the Big Blue House was one of my favorite TV shows. I found the show so calming and visually interesting, as I always had an appreciation for puppetry. Bear taught us how to handle tough situations, and in 2006, when the curtain would finally close on Bear himself, he gave us fans one last goodbye.
And that wasn't even the best part of the day. Everybody decided to show me how much I mean to them today. I was so touched.
Well, that's even more wonderful, Bear. Although I must say, it doesn't surprise me. You care so much for others, it makes sense that others would care for you.
Oh, well, thank you, Luna.
One life touches many others, Bear. We should make sure that each life we touch in as positive a way as we can.
That's a really good point, Luna. In fact, that may be the most important thing of all.
Oh, speaking of which, I'd better get back up into the night sky. The Earth needs my light.
Well, Luna, before you go, will you sing the goodbye song with us one more time?
You know I'd love to, Bear.
Hey, this was really fun.
We hope you liked it too.
Seems like we've just begun when suddenly we're through. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. 'Cause now it's time to go. But hey, I say, well, that's okay.
'Cause we'll see you very soon, I know.
Very soon, I know. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. And tomorrow, just like today, the moon, the bear, and the big blue house will be waiting for you to come and play. To come and play. To come and play. Bye now.
Like I mentioned, I've always had a deep appreciation for puppetry, even from a young age, and I think that's a large part of why Bear in the Big Blue House was one of my favorite shows as a kid. In my early school years, I remember another puppet-based show that I absolutely loved for many reasons, and for many of us who were in elementary school in the early 2000s, you may remember the show for teaching us how to read. It's a little-known sequel to Sesame Street that premiered in the year 2000. Can't guess? Well, maybe you should read Between the Lines.
Hey now, hey wow, here's how. Come and read between the lines. Come on, come in, begin. The world awaits. Between the lines, between the covers of the book, it's time to look between the lines. Behold the tales, beyond the tales, behind the door. Become explore. Come in between the lines. Begin between the lines. Be here between the lines.
Oh! By the way, I hope I've been one of the nicest parts of your life, because you are one of the nicest parts of mine. I'll see you back at the Big Blue House. Bye.
From the Jim Henson Company, creator of The Muppets,
Oh, hi! It's you!
comes the home video release of the hit preschool series TV guide called one of the top 10 new kid shows for 1997.
Welcome to the Big Blue House.
Bear in the Big Blue House.
All right!
Critics were curious about Bear in the Big Blue House when it debuted last fall,
It's you!
and they have unanimously declared it delightful,
That's nice.
top-notch,
Ooh, I like it!
and the hottest guy in kids TV.
What's in the mail today?
And of course, kids all over America love him too. And the colorful collection of friends who share his house. Bear in the Big Blue House. Order date August 13th. Street date September 15th. From Columbia TriStar Home Video.
See you soon!